Most people picture a welder as a guy in a mask in a hot shop making $40,000 a year. A solid, simple, blue-collar job. And they have no idea how wrong that picture is. Because somewhere out there, a welder is deep underwater, welding a pipe on the ocean floor, earning over $200,000 a year. Same skill. Melting metal together. A completely different paycheck. Welding is not one job. It is a ladder. And it is one of the most extreme pay ladders in the trades. A ladder that starts with an entry welder around $40,000 and climbs to specialists earning six figures in some of the most dangerous conditions on Earth, and to owners who run entire shops. And the secret to the whole thing is simple. In welding, they do not pay you for the weld, they pay you for how hard the weld is to do and how much it would cost if you got it wrong. Today we break down every single level of a welder. The real skills, the real risk, and the real money, from the shop floor to the ocean floor. This is every level of a welder. Let's strike an arc. The whole ladder runs on one brutal, simple rule. The pay in welding is tied to two things: how rare your skill is and how badly things go wrong if you fail. Weld 2 cheap pieces of metal in a safe shop and you earn the basic rate. Anyone can be trained to do it, but weld a pipe that carries high-pressure gas where one bad weld means an explosion and the pay jumps. Weld it hanging off a bridge or deep underwater where the job itself might kill you and the pay explodes. So the entire climb is about moving toward the welds that are rarer, harder, and more dangerous. And you can enter this ladder cheap and fast with no degree and barely any debt. So keep the rule in your head the whole way up. Rarer skill, higher stakes, bigger paycheck. Now let's start at the very bottom, in the shop. Level 1. The entry-level welder. Getting in is refreshingly cheap and fast. A short welding program at a trade school, a few months, and you have real skills. No 4-year degree, no mountain of debt, just a torch, a mask, and a lot of practice. As a new welder, you work in a shop or on a construction site doing the basic repetitive welds. You are joining metal frames, fixing simple parts, building the everyday stuff the world is made of, and the pay starts around $40,000 a year. Not bad at all for a few months of training. But this is the bottom rung, and it feels like it. The work can be repetitive, the shop is hot, and you are one of many. Here is the mistake most people make. They think this is all welding is, a $40,000 shop job. And so, they never climb. But the ones who are paying attention see the truth. Every certification you earn, and every harder material you master is a lever that lifts your pay. The entry job is not the ceiling. It is barely the first rung. Level 2. The certified, skilled welder. This is where you stop being a beginner and start being a professional whose skill is proven on paper. Welding has certifications, tests that prove you can weld a specific way, on a specific material, to a specific standard. And every certification you collect makes you more valuable and harder to replace. You learn the different welding processes, the ones with names like TIG and MIG, each used for different jobs. TIG welding especially, the slow, precise, beautiful kind, is a skill that pays well because few people do it cleanly. A certified, skilled welder commonly earns around $50,000 to $65,000 a year. This is a solid, stable, respected career and a skill that is always in demand somewhere. But this is also where the ladder splits, because the welders who stay in the safe, comfortable shop earn the comfortable wage, and the ones willing to go where it is harder and scarier are about to leave them far behind. Level 3. The specialist. The money multiplier. This is where welding pay stops making sense to outsiders, because the same skill in a harder place pays wildly more. Take the pipe welder. Welding pipe that carries oil, gas, or high-pressure steam where one flaw is a catastrophe. That weld gets X-rayed and inspected. If it is perfect, you get paid a premium. If it is not, you do not work. That pressure and precision pushes pay to $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year and beyond. Then there is the traveling rig welder, chasing big projects across the country, earning huge money for the willingness to go anywhere. And aerospace and specialty welders joining exotic metals for planes and rockets, where the standards are almost inhuman. Same torch, same basic skill you learned in that first cheap program, a paycheck 2 or 3 times bigger. Because now you are not just a welder. You are a welder who can do what almost no one else can. And there is one specialty above all of these where the pay reaches its peak, because so does the danger. Level 4. The underwater welder. The most extreme rung on the ladder, Picture it, welding a pipe or an oil rig support deep underwater, in the dark, in the cold, with the pressure of the ocean crushing down on you. It combines two dangerous skills into one: commercial diving and welding. And doing both at once is genuinely life-threatening. The risks are real and serious. The training is intense. And because of all that, the pay is enormous. An experienced underwater welder can earn well over $100,000 a year, and the top ones, on the biggest offshore projects, can push past $200,000. Read that again. Over $200,000 from a career that started with a few months at a trade school. This is the purest version of the rule that runs through this whole trade. The rarer the skill, and the more dangerous the job, the more the world will pay you to do it. It is not for everyone. It is not even for most people. But it proves just how high this ladder really goes. And there is still one more move, off the tools entirely, that turns a great welder into a business owner. Level 5. Getting off the tools and owning the work. Because swinging a torch is hard on the body. So the smartest welders eventually stop trading their own hands for money. One path is to open a welding or fabrication shop. Now you hire other welders, take on the contracts, and earn from their work, not just your own. A successful welding business owner can clear well over $100,000 a year, running crews instead of welding himself. The other path is to become an inspector. After years of experience, you get certified to INSPETS welds instead of making them. Now you are the one who X-rays the pipe weld and decides if it passes. Companies pay well for that trusted eye, and it is far easier on the body. Either way, the move is the same one at the top of every trade. You stop selling your own two hands and start selling your judgment, or the work of a whole crew. From a spark in a shop to owning the shop. That is the top of the ladder. Here is the practical secret to climbing this ladder fast. In welding, certifications A are your pay grade. Every certification is a test that proves you can weld a specific process on a specific metal to a specific standard. And each one you collect is a key that unlocks higher paying work you could not touch before. A welder with one basic certificate earns the basic wage. A welder who stacks certs, in pipe, in TIG, in exotic metals, can name a much higher price. So the fastest way up is simple. Never stop collecting certifications. Every year or two, learn a harder process, master a tougher metal, and pass the test for it. Because unlike a lot of jobs, nobody can argue with a certification. It is proof, on paper, that you can do what most people cannot. Stack enough of them, and you go from a replaceable shop hand to a specialist that companies fight over and fly across the country. The certificates are the rungs of the ladder. The whole game is to keep climbing them. So here is the real lesson underneath all the sparks. Welding is the clearest proof of a rule that runs through all of money. You do not get paid for the work. You get paid for how rare and how valuable the work is. At the bottom, you did the easy welds anyone could do for the basic wage. In the middle, you stacked certifications and mastered the hard, dangerous welds, and your pay multiplied. And at the top, you either went where the danger and the money was highest, or you stopped welding and owned the work instead. Same skill, the whole way up. The only thing that changed was how rare and how valuable you made yourself. The welder earning $200,000 was not born special. He just kept climbing toward the welds nobody else would do. If you want to see every level of another job and exactly what it really pays, subscribe. We break down every level of every career and every dollar drawn simply. Now go make yourself rare. I will see you in the next one.